Yo, what's going on, family? Hope everybody's doing amazing. I'm really excited about this video. Today, really what I want to do is I want to go over Bitcoin. I want to go over how it is that we caught this last big drop on Bitcoin and pretty much break down my overall directional bias of where I'd like to see it go, right? Now, when it comes down to it, I want to break down a few different key things with Bitcoin. I want to look at the higher time frame. I want to look at the lower time frame. I want to break down how it is that we were able to catch certain moves and certain plays to the downside this past week on Bitcoin. And, I really want to just show you guys my overall projection as well, right? It's definitely not financial advice. I really just want to educate y'all and really just give y'all some stew on BTC, right? So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to scale in and start from a lower time frame, explain the moves that we took, and then work that bias into the higher time frame swing perspective, right? Now, for those of you that, really been following me, what I want to do is I want to start off on the 4 hour. I'm going to break down my thought process when it came down to Bitcoin, right? Now, right now, what I want to do is I want to talk about this previous high, right? This previous high that was put in here is the all-time high. Factor that in right here, right? So this is the higher low that put in that highest high. So the first thing I want you guys to really take away from this is just understanding the key points in structure, right? When it comes down to Bitcoin, we put in these lows down here at the low 40s, and then we just put in highs at the pretty much dang near 69,000, right? Now, when it came down to it, this move was kind of parabolic. It was very bullish and vertical on the higher time frame, but on the lower time frame, you're going to be able to see a little bit more structure and a little bit more noise, right? Now, in the sense of key points and structure, I always look at the shift of momentum and break of structure type setups. Those are my favorite types of opportunities. And then from there, you can just kind of keep trading with the trend, right? Now, what I mean by that is Bitcoin was going up and up and up. And then let's say in the sense of this little example of price that I'm showing you guys, let's say that this is the range that we're trading in, right? Let's say this range here is the same as Bitcoin trading in this range up here, right? Now, when it comes down to it, what I want y'all to take away from this is the way price is supposed to work is Bitcoin should have pulled back, gave us a retracement, put in a new higher low, and then pushed higher, right? But what happened was it came in and put in a lower high right here. It put in a lower high, right? I'm going to label that for y'all real quick. I'm going to just put a LH, lower high, right? Now, that's your first indication that there might be, some rejecting going on. That's your first indication that, what I like to say is there's potentially signs that price is just kind of showing you it's unwilling to go higher. It's not trying to go higher, right? So that's my first indication that maybe we'll see a structure break. In the sense of how I'm looking at price, I know that price can chop in between this high, this low and this high. And as long as price doesn't break the last higher low, it doesn't matter what happens. It can still go up. But the moment that price breaks below this previous higher low, I know it's a downtrend. Price should start trending lower, right? Now that we understand that, let's look at it from let's look at it in the perspective of the actual chart, right? Now I see that Bitcoin broke structure right here, right? I'm just gonna put that BOS broke structure right here at this line. I'm gonna delete this these little drawing tools real quick. But Bitcoin broke structure right there at that level, right? Now that we've seen that Bitcoin has broken that structure, now what we got to do is we got to take it from a higher time frame swing perspective to a lower time frame intraday perspective, right? Now, I'm just looking at the key areas in price, right? And just for the sake of making this easier, I'm just gonna just pull this back to like right here, just so we can focus in on this area of price. Now, when it comes down to it, I see that we put in this high, we have a low, we have a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Even we could potentially say this is the relative low in this area, right? But when it comes down to it, in the sense of the structural range, the way I would be looking at this is my key points in structure from this high down to this relative low. That was the lowest low, right? Now, in the sense of how I understand price to work and how, in theory, price is delivered, the order flow kind of works like this, right? If you don't know what order flow is, I'll make another video kind of breaking down how to understand it a little bit more in depth. But price should be trending down like this, right? Now, in a downtrend, the price is not bullish until the last lower high that put in the lowest low gets taken out. So, you know, if it went above, the next retracement would have took us higher, and maybe we could have went and swung and make all-time highs, right? But the perspective of how I saw it was we failed to make a higher high. We made a lower high, and we actually distributed orders, right? Now, I want to take this to the higher time frame before I break down what happened here more in depth, right? But this is how Bitcoin had been moving. You know, this is how most people are looking at it. We saw that Bitcoin made a huge rally to the upside, right? Huge move up. And then after that, we had a bearish trend line that when it broke that bearish trend line, you know, most people thought, okay, now it's about to go up and make new highs, right? That was kind of the mindset. Let's look at this. Price is going up, 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 and then we start trending down. We break through this trend line, and then, you know, price is bullish, right? Now, right after we broke through that trend line, what had happened was we made another swing, pretty much equivalent, a little bit greater than the last one, right? We made a swing a little bit equivalent, greater than the last one, right? I'm just going to fine tune this to, you know, this little price model that I have in mind like this. Let's do this. And for some of y'all that have studied, I guess, wave theory, you kind of see what I'm looking at. But we seen, you know, price kind of make this type of wave, right? Now, when it comes down to it, this is a overall swing in my, you know, my eyes. Let's just change the color on this. This is this price model. If you understand this price model, this is like a beautiful model. It's just understanding that there's waves inside of waves and different time frames, and knowing that price is swinging higher, right? Now that we see this, the beautiful thing is now that we see this, we can understand where we're at. A lot of people were looking at BTC USD this week, and they said, hey, this piece of price where we're currently at looks like this previous piece of price, right? Say that 3 times fast, right? 10 times fast. But really what I'm getting at is this piece of price action here looks very similar to where price was currently being traded, right? Now, what most people were looking at when it comes down to this piece of price was this. They saw, okay, Bitcoin rallied. It had this bearish trend line. We broke the trend line. Price should go up, right? Honestly, trend lines are so dumb. They confuse people. The key thing is just being able to see structure. Now, what I saw was this. I saw what I'd like to say was a very deep retracement into premium pricing, right? Now, the people that took this position and the people that really moved the market, they were, in fact, just distributing their orders, right? You know, we had some downside liquidity down here. And obviously, you know, we had that liquidity grab and then we moved higher. But, you know, truth be told, family, the way I was looking at this was, let me pull this up, was as like a mitigation type play, right? I seen this candle on the H6, the 6-hour time frame, and I'm looking for the biggest body candle. But what I seen price retrace very deep into premium pricing and react off these levels. Now, once price got up into here, what I started to see was an accumulation of orders, right? Now, for those of you that don't necessarily know what that means, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull up a little website real quick. And this is a resource that we use in the last video. If you guys watched the last video, this was a resource we used in the last video too. Let me just switch what you guys are seeing to this Google Chrome. Perfect. Now, when it comes down to it, you know, we talked about Richard Wyckoff a little bit, you know, in the last video, you know, one of the godfathers of technical analysis, you know, like it says right here, he was a titan, right? Now, when it comes down to it, you know, Richard Wyckoff talks about this price cycle, this price model of, you know, accumulating orders in an oversold condition and then distributing orders in an overbought condition, right? And really just the exchange of supply and demand from supply and demand to demand and supply, right? Now, we talked about accumulation. I think it was schematic 1. Now what I want to talk about is distribution, right? Now, when it comes down to this price model, you guys can study about it a little bit more. I don't know if my mouse cursor is on this, but we have what we like to call a buyer's climax, BC at the top, right? We have this buyer's climax. This is like that last little push up before we have a rally back. After that, we have one more thrust higher. We call that the up thrust, the UT. And then you might have a series of up thrusts, right? But long story short, family, we have 1, 2, 3 tests of the high and then a shift of directional bias, right? I'm not going to go too far in depth with this. I'd like to save, the Wyckoff, principles for another video. But I just want you guys to understand that this was kind of like the idea that I was coming with. I was like, okay, Bitcoin doesn't look like it's ready to go down, right? I'm looking at it in the sense of, okay, well, there's 1, 2, 3, and then boom, 4. This should be my entry, right? I'm saying this should be my entry, right? And when it comes down to it, if we were to label this out, I would just say that this was my buyer's climax. This was my up thrust, my UT. The next one would be my UTAD, up thrust after distribution. And then the last one, we could just say this is a test or a LPSY, whatever you want to say. I would say this is a test, right? Now, when it comes down to it, family, what I want y'all to take away from this is when it comes down to this price model, really price is distributing orders and it's getting ready to start making its move down, right? So when I saw this, Bitcoin, obviously, if Bitcoin is bleeding, all the other cryptocurrencies follow it. But this was where we got the bias for another trade we took on Ethereum as well. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. I took a trade up here. This is a different trading view, but we took a trade on Ethereum to the downside as well. I might break that down in a different video, but here's the entry, and man, that thing melted from 46.50 to 35.80, right? Now, getting back to Bitcoin, what I want you to understand is we seen that price traded back into some of the key areas and key components in price right here. But just to make a long story short, this was the distribution. So this is how we knew that this move to the downside was coming in, right? Now that we've retraced and made such a deep retracement off this extension, now we got to look at the higher time frame and start factoring some things in, right? Now, there's a few different ways to play this, right? There's a few different ways that we can interpret this, whatever you want to say. The way I'm looking at this is we filled a very deep imbalance on price, right? We filled a very deep imbalance, a void between the wicks. We filled a key area in my thought process on price. So we filled this imbalance. This imbalance is visible on the daily time frame. It's visible on, the 8 hour, the 4, the 6, pretty much all of them. There was an imbalance that was left in price. There was some good mitigation as well. There was a last candle down before the move up, came back, mitigated, left an imbalance. Then we started taking off, right? Now, depending on if we can hold the current range that we're in, we could potentially go and see Bitcoin extend further, based off the different fib levels that we can look at next, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to historically look at Bitcoin from a different perspective. So we've looked at it from this way, a smart money perspective, some waves, things of that nature. What I'd like to do is I'm going to look at Bitcoin once again, but I'm going to look at it from a different style, and then we'll put them together, right? Now, when it comes down to it, what we want to do is just understand the key points in the fib. Now, I just want to talk about what's relevant to the current wave that we're trading in, right? Now, if I take the fib from the swing low to the swing high, what I want you guys to understand is from this relative swing, from the start of this wave up into here, we had, this was like a 50% retracement off the swing. I know I don't have it on the fibs, but this was about a 50% retracement, right? Now, that de-extended us to the negative 61.8. And depending on how you like to draw your fibs, I mean, it could have took you to the 161.8, right? It's the same thing. The fibs just in reverse. It's the same thing. You know, people will argue and say this or that or whatever, but same key price component, right? The same key price component's been working all throughout Bitcoin throughout history, right? Now, I just want to say to where it's really relevant. Now, based off of this last, ABCD, move, what I want to factor in is that I'd like to see Bitcoin make another wave higher, right? Now, on this wave higher, what I'd like to see is Bitcoin, now that we've made a very deep retracement into discounted pricing, what I'd like to see is that extension higher, right? Now, the way I'm looking at this is, once again, let me delete this real quickly. The way I'm looking at this once again is, here's the overall swing, ABCD, and then there's the overall wave, right? Now, really quickly, I just want to see something really quick. Take a fib from the overall high to the overall low. What I want you guys to understand as well, from the overall high to the overall low, we have swung into this 61.8 retracement, the golden ratio, a very nice level. We filled a daily, weekly imbalance and also a sell to buy movement. So we're in an interesting area in price. If we could hold this range, I think we could really swing, right? Now, here's the perspective that I'm looking at it from the overall swing. I'm going to change the color just so you guys don't get confused. The overall swing, I don't like that color. It's not, all right, cool. This green line. What I'd like to see is, now that we've made this deeper retracement, what I'd like to see is to see us potentially extend a little bit farther based off the measured moves. Obviously, price isn't going to be 100% perfect. I'm looking at the overall structural bias. Now I'm going to give you the overall higher time frame, I guess, just prediction of what I'd like to see. But I'd like to see something like this play out, right? I really like this number of 82,000. I feel like 82,000 could be our first major, upside projection. I don't know what it is about 82, but 82 is just it. It's nice. It's it, right? But what I want to factor in from the fib perspective is this. I want to pull up two fibs, one from the high to the low and one from the midterm to the next one. I realistically think that we could smash through 82, and then maybe the next key area that we could trade into would be that 87,000 to 93 range, right? I don't think we'll hit 100K straight up. But what I would like to see is something like this to play out, right? So when we factor it in the sense of the waves, and obviously the smart money perspective, we've dipped into this level. What I'd like to see is maybe we might potentially, let's see, maybe potentially we could dip a little bit lower and then maybe start trending up. But right now, we really need to see some structure being made at these current points, right? I don't have a position to give you guys right now. I just want to give you the bias, and I really want to just break down how it is that, we were able to catch this move to the downside. I know a lot of you guys saw this. I'll make an Ethereum video as well, maybe. But, I'm really liking Bitcoin where it's at, crazy discount in price. From that all-time high, we pulled back, about 37, 38%, which, is no big deal. Bitcoin has retraced very large retracements, 20, 30% retracements all throughout time. Bitcoin from this high to this low, that was like that was a 60% retracement. So, guys, it's always been trending. But the thing is we just had a very aggressive move to the downside, just like the previous ones. What I want you guys to understand is this last time we filled this imbalance. So now that we're kind of finding structure up into these highs, I think it makes a lot of sense to have one last wave up. But guys, I don't want to make this video too long. I might cut it out, might cut some things, but I hope you guys enjoyed the overall, video, and you guys like the bias. And, we'll see how it plays out. Appreciate y'all for watching. I'm going to see y'all from the top.